Welcome to the Getting Through Today podcast. I'm Brita. Come along with me as I share my story of the ups and downs through chronic illness and depression, all while being a mother of 5. I know healing is possible, and through every phase there is beauty, even if we don't always see it at the time. I know what it feels like to just get through one day at a time. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm sharing the story behind my shift program that I created. I'll be talking about what it is, why I created it, and how it's helping people reclaim their power, clarity, and healing. I don't know about you, but I have felt stuck in survival mode. If you've ever felt stuck in survival mode, if you've been carrying pain, guilt, or fear for so long that it feels like part of your identity, or if you just know deep down that something needs to shift, this episode is for you. I created the shift program because I needed it. It's something I wish I had when I was in the midst of all my bad days. The program wasn't created from just a theory. It was created from experience. There was a season in my life when I felt completely broken, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, really on every level. I was dealing with chronic illness, depression, trauma, and really a disconnection from myself. No one could fix me, but I knew I didn't want to stay in that place. Little by little, I started gathering tools. So many different things. I've tried a lot of different things for my physical body, for emotional, not so that I could avoid the pain, but to move through it with purpose. And the more I practiced different things that I learned, the more I felt myself coming back. Not to who I was before everything happened, but to someone stronger, softer, and more free. That's when shift began to take shape. I wanted to create something that might have been able to reach me when I was in my darkest days. And honestly, I wonder if anything could have helped me back then. But I'm determined to help as many people as I can so that they can gain that awareness and find purpose where they are, even in tough situations. SHIFT is an acronym, and each part is intentional. S, see yourself clearly. This is where we start with honesty and gentle awareness with ourselves. Who are you underneath the roles, the pain, the masks, and even the expectations that you might have for yourself? Seeing yourself clearly is the foundation of healing, getting real about where you are and reconnecting with yourself. This is where you see what you really believe about yourself, and you begin to see yourself with clarity, grace, and compassion. H, honor your feelings. Your emotions are not the enemy, they're messengers. This step in the program invites you to stop stuffing those feelings down. Don't bypass them, don't power through your feelings, but instead learn how to honor them. I, intentions are important. Intention is the bridge between where you are and where you're going. Here is where we get clear on what you want to create, not from this place of pressure or even perfectionism, but where you are aligned. This is where you set your intentions that support your healing to reconnect with your vision, and it's about reclaiming your power and directing your energy with purpose. F, find healing tools. Now, we all know that healing is not one size fits all. It's so personal. And in this step, we help you build your unique toolbox. There's so many different things that you can try, from breath work, meditation, to energy work, forgiveness, so many different things. This is where you gather what truly supports you. And it's about having the right tools for you, tools that you can come back to again and again as you continue to grow, to grieve, release, and to rise. T, trust the process. Now, just keep in mind, this is a journey, not a sprint. This is where we dig into self-trust and the tools that keep you grounded, even when life feels uncertain. And we all know that healing is not linear and it does not follow a checklist. But this step is about letting go of the need to control every outcome and instead learning to trust yourself, your timing, and that path that's unfolding before you. And then you get to decide if you want to deepen your relationship with patience, presence, and surrender. So even when life feels messy or uncertain, you can stay grounded in your truth and trust that you are being led. Shift is more like a roadmap to get to know yourself a little better and really see where those areas in your life that you can improve to find purpose and happiness right where you're at. Now, when I first started writing this program, it was not from a place of having it all figured out. It really was from the middle of my own healing, which was very raw and messy and real. I was just trying to reclaim parts of myself that I thought were lost forever, not just the energetic version of me or the hopeful version, but the version who felt worthy of love, of rest, of joy, the version who didn't feel like a burden. And one day I just sat down and started typing, and not as a coach or a healer, but just someone who had fought through chronic illness, depression. And I asked myself, what do I wish someone had told me when I was going through it? What did I need when I was lying in bed, too exhausted to get up, drowning in physical pain and emotional weight? I kept thinking, what if there had been something or someone or even just something small that I could have done from my bed with no energy, no hope, and no clear direction? Would I have been able to do it? Honestly, I don't know. But I knew I had to create something that met people right here in the depths, in those stuck places, in the I'm barely surviving moments. Something that wasn't overwhelming or pressure-filled, but gentle and steady. And that's how Shift was created. It just started as this little whisper, knowing that there had to be a better way. Not a way to force healing, because I know we can't do that, but almost a way to invite it in. Because real healing doesn't happen through pressure or perfection. It really just happens through showing up for ourselves, through awareness, through intention. And I realize that the tiniest shifts that we make each day that are done consistently can create massive change over time. And as someone with chronic illness, knowing that consistency might look a little different than doing something every day is just that consistency of showing up for yourself when you can, taking off that pressure and knowing that there are going to be bad days. And on those bad days, you just have to nurture yourself, but then to get back to it and continue to help yourself learn and grow. This program, I wanted to help people gain awareness of their emotions, their patterns, their thoughts, their bodies. And that became the first step, because if we don't know what we're feeling, how can we even start to heal from it? And if we've never been taught how to listen to our needs, how can we ever learn to honor them? And how can we set boundaries if we've never been told we're allowed to? So I created this program as something I would have needed, something I did need, something I still need. Shift is not about changing everything overnight. Sometimes I wish there was something that could do that. And it's not a quick fix, but it is a path, a process, almost like a gentle return to yourself. And what if those little nudges could be the things that transform pain into purpose? What if healing doesn't require a miracle, but simply the courage to show up in the smallest ways for yourself again and again? Because here's what I know now. You don't have to change who you are to heal. You just have to remember who you are beneath the pain, beneath the patterns, beneath the exhaustion. And really, that's the heart of Shift. You are not broken. You don't need fixing. You are already enough right now. You just need some tools to reconnect with your power, that part of you that actually never left. And I know I felt broken so many times. I did feel broken apart, and that's okay. But Shift is a way to gather those pieces of, even if you feel broken right now, to really decide how you want yourself to go forward. What kind of person do you want to be? I created this program for the version of me who thought she'd never get her life back. And I hope it reaches the version of you who might feel the same. This program helps people stop surviving and start shifting. One small act of self-awareness, one moment of self-trust, one breath at a time. Because even if our circumstances stay the same, which they might, your relationship with them doesn't have to. And when you are able to shift your perspective, your entire life can begin to change. Now, I didn't create Shift to make people dependent on a process. I created it to help them remember their power, to give them practical, accessible tools they can return to again and again for the rest of their lives, something that can empower them. Tools that meet you in the mess and in the breakthrough. Tools that don't require perfection, just presence. Because I really do believe that every person has the capacity to heal. Even if you've been through hell, even if you're still in it, even if the pain has lasted for years, or the diagnosis still lingers, or the anxiety is still with you, you are not beyond healing. And I don't know what healing might look for you. It might just be feeling peace through what you're going through. Everybody's journey is different. I'm not claiming that everybody can be healed in the way that I want them to or that they want to. But I know that as we work on ourselves and nurture ourselves, that we can at least find peace through the process. Maybe we've been sold the lie that healing has to be neat. It hasn't been for me. Maybe that you have to be fixed to be whole, or that if you're still struggling, you must be doing it wrong. Sometimes I felt like that along the way, that people would act like, well, if you just did this, you would feel better. So if you're not doing it that way, then it's just wrong. But that's not real life. I found, at least for me, healing was messy. Some days you might feel like you're flying, and other days you might barely be able to lift your head off the pillow. And both of these days count. It's normal life. It's how life is. So just know that healing is not perfect. It doesn't have to follow a timeline, and it does not have to look like anyone else's journey. It just has to be honest, raw, real, and yours. And even if you don't get the exact healing you were hoping for, if that diagnosis doesn't change, the relationship doesn't mend, or the pain doesn't disappear, what if something else shifts? What if your perspective softens? What if you could find peace inside the storm, even if the storm still rages? What if you begin to feel more connected, more seen, more empowered, not because your circumstances are easy, but because you've learned to meet them differently? Sometimes the greatest healing is not in the outcome. It's how we relate to what we're going through. It's in reclaiming the parts of ourselves that hardship tried to silence, our voice, our worth, our faith, our joy. Because even if your body still aches, even if the struggle is still real, if your heart can begin to hope again, if your mind starts believing you're not stuck forever, if you could look at the pain and say, this does not define me, that's healing too. Shift doesn't promise anything, but it does promise a path back to yourself. One breath, one choice, one perspective at a time. If you've ever looked in the mirror and wondered, is this it? Is this really all there is for me? Shift is your invitation to believe that the answer is no. There is more for you, not in some far off, maybe one day sense, but now. Even in the middle of all the messiness, even with the chaos, even with the fear. It's up to you, but there is more peace, more ease, and more freedom. More truth, your truth. More joy that's not dependent on your circumstances, but born from within it. More clarity, more connection, more you. Shift is about helping you return to yourself, not the self that the world told you to be, but the one you were always meant to be before the pain, before the burnout, before your identity got tangled in survival. And when you begin to see yourself clearly, when you learn to honor your emotions instead of bury them, when you set powerful intentions and gather healing tools that work for you, when you finally trust the process even when it's uncertain, you come home to a version of yourself that's not only worthy, but unstoppable. That's what shift is, not a fix, not a Band-Aid, but those little tiny shifts we can make every day to create a better life. And if all it does is help you to take one deep breath today, one breath that feels like a little bit of freedom or relaxation, then it's already working. So if you're ready to shift even just a little bit, I invite you to start today, not with any pressure, not with a plan that overwhelms you, just with a willingness to see yourself clearly, to really see where you are right now, and to take one brave, imperfect step at a time. And it's very interesting for me when I was developing this program, when I really was looking at myself, there were a lot of things that I thought I was doing really well. I thought I talked nice to myself. I thought I really had a positive outlook on life. But as I dug a little deeper, there were things that I was saying to myself I didn't even realize that I was kind of being negative about myself. When I would talk to people, someone would give me a compliment and I would play it down and, oh no, that's not me. It was really interesting for me to go through and really see what I was thinking about myself and others. And there were so many times when I was dealing with all the chronic illness, depression and everything. And I kept saying, I can't do this. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. And I think it's important to voice that because it was really hard. I didn't want to do it. I didn't think I could do it. But when I started looking at myself and thinking that, yes, I can do this, it's hard and I don't like it, but I can get through each day. And when I started kind of shifting those words and those thoughts, things did start becoming better because I wasn't focused on what I couldn't do. I really tried to focus on what I could do, what I wanted. And even if it looked a little different than I wanted, I look at where I am now and I couldn't be here happy and doing the things I want without making changes every day. And like I said, I've done a lot of different things to help my body heal. So there wasn't just one thing that helped me, but really what did help me was showing up for myself every day, listening to my body and doing those things that each day made a difference in my overall journey. And I'm so happy to be where I am today. I get so emotional when I think about how good I feel almost every single day. Oh, it just feels amazing. And I'd love for other people to find themselves again, to have happiness and joy and peace in their life, even when they've been struggling for a lot of years. So just know that you don't have to feel strong. You don't have to feel ready, but you just have to be willing to believe that something different is possible, even if it's just a small shift in perspective or a moment of peace in the middle of the storm. Those things matter. And it may take some time, but you can get there. You can get through this. Whatever you're going through, you can get through this. And I'm here for you. I know how bad it can hurt to not feel good and to not be the version of yourself you thought that you would be. Whether it's your first time tuning in or you've been walking this journey with me for a while, please hear this. You are not behind. You are not too broken. You're not too late. You are more powerful than you've been told, even if you feel tired, stuck, or unseen right now. And you deserve to feel free from the inside out. You deserve to come home to yourself again. Thank you for being here, for showing up for yourself. If the Shift program speaks to your heart, if it feels like something you wish you had in the hardest season of your life, you can learn more at my website, britapeterson.com. Now, this isn't about changing your whole life overnight. It's just about honoring where you are and trusting that healing starts with one small intentional choice at a time. Until next time, keep going, Keep breathing, and remember, you don't have to do it all today. You just have to keep getting through one day at a time.